volunteer with Rogers TV in Ottawa, and today I'm speaking with Austin, who's also a volunteer with Rogers TV. Austin's been volunteering since 2018, and today we're going to talk to him about what he's been doing since COVID hit. Austin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for participating in this. It's a great volunteer project, and I'm so happy that you're able to participate with us. So, life has changed for so many people since COVID hit, I guess now about 14 months ago. And can you kind of describe how it changed your life? I guess that's a big question, but if you had to think of something, like how did it change your life the most?
Well, when COVID hit, it was very soon, like almost 6 months after I'd graduated high school, and so I was free. I was ready to enjoy life without school and setting my own responsibilities instead of having to follow what felt like guidelines of school and homework and all that jazz. And then COVID hit, and so uh, for me a couple of the biggest changes that I had to deal with is at the time I was working at an airport, the Ottawa airport. And so there were obviously big restrictions that happened there. Flights were reduced, so there was less of that work, but we provided resources to northern territories like Iqaluit and Yellowknife. So work was still as normal, but things were worrisome around the homestead as I was in a more precarious line of work compared to somebody that, well, obviously it's a bit more precarious, but everywhere became more dangerous. So I took time off, and during that time, I wasn't doing much around at all. The biggest thing that I was trying to do was to get my driver's license. However, with COVID, my appointments were continued to getting delayed to do my driver's test, and eventually they just stopped letting us try and set it up for months on end. And then eventually I did get it, and so that felt amazing, but COVID still slowed that process down. It probably added about 8 months of extra waiting just to get a driver's license. And I don't know, uh, it slowed things down for me. That's right out after I got the freedom that I was so excited to receive. So I didn't get hit as badly as a lot of other people have been getting hit by COVID, but still sucked.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. It sounds like some things moved forward, like you had your job for that while, and some things were really dragging on with you not to get your license. So, I mean, you haven't even talked about social life and how that impacted. You had all this freedom, and you can't even enjoy it with your friends. You can't celebrate getting out of high school and starting on that next stage of your life. So that must have been challenging for you. How did you? I mean, it's been challenging for a lot of people. Did you find ways to stay positive through that time?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, it's going to sound a little sad, but I didn't have as big of a social life at school that most people have at this age. Most of the people that and friends that I interacted with, we were all gamers, and we loved to just play on the internet and multiplayer games. So staying social was actually fairly easy for me. Almost didn't even change out of what was already the norm for me. So every day I would log on. If anything, it just made me feel like I had more time to spend with my friends online, just playing games and having a good time. But as I said, I took time. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I took time off for my job because of COVID, because it was getting scary. And my stepfather's father, who's in his 80s, lives with us, and he has a heart condition. So we were worried that if I contracted it, even if I was carrying it and didn't have symptoms, that if he got it, it would be much worse. So I took 5 months off, and since I play games and I stay social playing online and just doing normal things with them on the internet, it was great first. But after a long time of just the same old, sitting in my room, playing games, staying up late, sleeping in, giving myself almost no schedule, and just almost like a nonstop vacation, I actually felt my mental state deteriorating because of just the same old, and it was kind of an unhealthy lifestyle, right? Just doing nothing. So, um,
Yeah.
staying social was still easy for me because I still play multiplayer games, but as we've gotten more used to how COVID is and the lifestyle, I'm able to find other ways of keeping active, giving myself goals. And then after that 5 months, I did return to work. So that was extremely helpful having myself a schedule again to like keep myself in check almost.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I think, a lot of talk about how people can stay positive, what kind of psych tools you can use or mental health tools you can use
Hmm.
to keep a positive attitude. And I mean, whatever way you're socializing with people, I think is helpful. And I have to say that I had a feeling you
Yeah.
were a gamer because I could see the chair behind you. And that was my little clue
Yeah.
that you were a gamer too. But it
Yeah.
sounds like you have great family, generational family that you're staying with, but it sounds like you had good support and good interest to pursue while you were off. So I think you also
Mhm.
said that when we were talking, you were talking a little bit about missing your time at Rogers. Can you tell us a little bit about how you started at Rogers and what you have done while you volunteered with Rogers?
Yeah. So I started back when I was in 11th grade. I signed up and got into the co-op program, which is a program at my high school, and many other schools that allow people to go into workplaces to just get a different layout. Or I'm not explaining this great right now. I'll be honest. So co-op allowed me to go into Rogers and experience the field of interest that I had in a different way that I wouldn't ever be able to learn from at school. And so at very first, I worked on the daytime Ottawa show with producer Stan Newton, and that was
Mhm.
great. I started off just on cameras and slowly spread to doing different things like audio, helping out as a floor director, guest liaison, and multiple other different roles. But that helped me get more and more comfortable at Rogers and expand to different opportunities like Cultural Window, working on the Ottawa 67s games, and a bunch of other opportunities, which has allowed me to learn so much more about the field than I would have, like I said, at school, and get contacts and make friends. And that was such an amazing part of my education process at high school. It's probably the highlight, the best part was working at Rogers. Every day I was excited to get up. And even though it was an hour bus drive to get in from my high school, I didn't care. It was great.
Because it was you're passionate about what you were doing. So if you had to pick your favorite role that you've played, because it sounds like you've worn lots of different, I'm going to say different headsets instead of different hats, but you've done so many different things at Rogers. What is your favorite role that you've played there?
Looking back at it, one of my favorite things that I got to do was I got to direct a couple of the episodes on Cultural Window, technical director. So I was in the booth telling everybody what to do on audio, on cameras. But if I remember back when I was actively volunteering at Rogers for my co-op program, one of my favorite things going in was the most common show I would do was Daytime Ottawa. So that was every day I'd go in and I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't know what Stan was going to put me on. I could be on cameras, I could be guest liaison. I didn't know. And my favorite back then was doing audio. Honestly, I think it was because it allowed me to watch and learn all the aspects of the show without having to pay attention to what I'm specifically doing. I mean, I still didn't pay attention to my audio role, but audio allowed me to keep the least amount of tension of what I'm doing and the most amount on what everybody else is doing to try and learn. And also, it was fun because I got to just sit down in a booth all by myself and just, it was my own little experience. I really enjoyed.
That sounds like a great way to learn. I mean, I think most of us at Rogers have had the opportunity to work with Stan at some point, or you're learning from a master there too. Do you when COVID's over, is it your hope to get back in and do some more work with Rogers, or are you planning to pursue something within TV production in general?
I would love to return to Rogers. I was hoping to return earlier this year, last year, but COVID allowed it so that I was stuck at home to only wish and not actually participate. So thanks for that, COVID. But once COVID does clear up a bit more, I would love to return to Rogers. Obviously, it's not going to be in the same aspect as when I was doing it back when I was at school, just because I don't have as much time. But I'm also moving to Brockville, so to get to Rogers, it's going to be about an hour and a half to get there in the first place. So going into it, I'm going to be really enjoying it because it's going to be a different experience from school. I'm going to be putting more dedication into it, as it's not just because I have to for school. I have to get these hours in, so I have to do a shift today. It's I want to go. I want to spend time doing something I love with people that also love doing it. And so it's going to be interesting going back, especially if I'm doing shows that I've done in the past, working with people that have already worked with me. It's going to be great to see those people like Arthur, like Stan, and a couple of the other producers at Rogers.
Well, it sounds like you have something really positive to look forward to when we are done with COVID, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later. Austin, I just
Hopefully.
want to thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you so much for participating in this. I hope you had fun with it, being able to do something with Rogers again.
Yes, it was great to be back, even if it's in this smaller setting, and it's great to reminisce about the good old days.
It is. Hopefully we'll be back to them again sometime soon. I just want to thank
Mhm.
everybody for watching. If you would like to participate in this volunteer project, then please, either you can be an interviewer or you can interview. But if you are interested, please email Arthur. For now, I'm Glenna, and I'm signing off, and I look forward to seeing you again in TV Land.